Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Monday, May 20th, 2024. Today we'll do the weekend's NBA and Stanley Cup playoff games. And we have one Game 7 tonight in the Western Conference in hockey. Baseball, WNBA, soccer, golf, NASCAR, Formula One, the season finale of American Idol, news and notes, and best bet. We'll start with the NBA playoffs. Crazy weekend. We'll go over everything. And then we'll pick the two conference final series. Friday. Pacers over the Knicks, 116-103 to force a Game 7 back at Madison Square Garden. Saturday, Mavericks over the Thunder, 117-116 to clinch a berth in the Western Conference Finals. And yesterday, Game 7, Pacers destroy the Knicks 130-109 to win it in 7. A stunning performance from a shooting standpoint by Indiana. Jalen Brunson breaks his hand, and the Knicks run ends in disappointing fashion. T-Wolves over the Nuggets 98-90 to win Game 7 to advance to the Western Conference Finals, as the Nuggets title defense also comes to an end. All right, postmortems real quick. Knicks, fabulous run in the playoffs despite all these injuries. But the Pacers played better for most of the series. And the Pacers had the best player in the series in Tyrese Haliburton. For the most part. Or I should say best healthy player in the series. Rick Carlisle did a lot of good things in the last couple games of the series, which helped the Pacers. Their three-point shooting is outstanding. They deserve a lot of credit. But the Knicks had a golden opportunity to go up 3-0. Let's face it. Andrew Nembhard doesn't hit that shot. The Knicks don't blow that 9-point lead in the fourth quarter. We're talking about Knicks in 5 going to the conference finals to take on the Celtics, and Jalen Brunson doesn't have a broken hand. So that Game 3 loss with that freak shot by Andrew Nembhard is going to be the loss that is going to haunt the Knicks the most this offseason. Denver. Disappointing finish. I mean, their season's a failure. You didn't repeat as champions. You have the best player in basketball, 3 of the last 4 MVPs in Nikola Jokic, and you can't win a closeout game at home, and you had a 20-point lead and you blew it. That's dismal. That's a bad look on Mike Malone. That's a bad look on Jokic. I understand Marie wasn't 100%. I understand there was karma for the Nuggets because Murray didn't get suspended. Yeah, people are going to say that, and Murray probably should have been suspended. But he wasn't suspended because he's Jamal Murray on the Nuggets. If that was Draymond Green, he's suspended. If that's Kyrie Irving, he's probably suspended. It's because Jamal Murray didn't have that reputation. That's why he wasn't suspended. He was looked upon as a respectful player. And now it's next for each team. Knicks, they have some key free agents to bring back. OG Anunoby, Isaiah Hartenstein. Although Anunoby, I want to have a guest on this week. Maybe James will do Knicks postmortem together. Hartenstein, I think, is arguably more important than Anunoby. I know Anunoby, they're almost unbeatable with him in the lineup, but he's so injury prone. He's way too injury prone. I'm sorry. That's just facts. I mean, maybe do a sign and trade. So it's going to be interesting. And then Denver, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, player option. Reggie Jackson, player option. Justin Holiday. So KCP's the big one for Denver. They have the 28th pick in the draft. Denver should be back next year in the mix, unless some weird shit happens. Knicks, they're going to be better next year. You know they're going to get another big fish potentially to go with Brunson and what they have. Or maybe they know that, or they think that Brunson could be the best guy on a championship team. And he just didn't show it these last couple games because of that foot injury. And obviously the broken hand. Although he broke his hand on that, on Tyrese Halliburton's knee. But we'll see what happens with both these teams. I know the Knicks will be better, and I think the Nuggets will be back in the mix as well. So, disappointing finishes for both teams. I think it's a failure for the Nuggets. But Knicks, I can't say it's a failure because of the injuries, but I can't say it's a success either because you're a 2 seed and lost to a 6 seed in a Game 7 at home. So, like, the Knicks, it's, like, more of, like, you can make a case either or. But, part of me wants to say, like, the slightest failures because of Game 3 and the what-ifs. And, like I said, that's going to haunt the Knicks all offseason. And the Nuggets, I can't point to a game and say, oh, that game's going to haunt them. But the reality for Denver is that they ran into a bust off of defense and a rising young star in Anthony Edwards, and they couldn't stop him in Game 6. It was just an awful, awful loss on the road in Minnesota, too. All right, the conference finals picks. We'll start the East, because that's the series that's beginning first. I'll start Tuesday. Pacers, Celtics, Game 1 from the Garden. TD Garden will be on Tuesday at 8:30 on ESPN. All right, best player in the series, Jason Tatum. He knows what it takes to be in these big spots. He doesn't have to be perfect, but he does a little bit of everything. He's a great rebounder. He can get you a basket if need be. He's a good passer. He's a good defensive player. Like, he does it all. Tyrese Halliburton can be the best guy in the series, but I don't think he will. I put Halliburton second. I put Jaylen Brown third, and Pascal Siakam fourth in terms of players in the series. The coaching advantage, I would give it to Rick Carlisle over Joe Mazzulla, only because the Celtics, and even in last year's playoffs, I still can't get over them losing to Miami last year. And being down 3-0 and flopping in the Game 7 at home like they did last year. And they flopped in Game 2 against Cleveland. They flopped in Game 2 against Miami. I could see them having a couple of flops in this series as well. Carlisle has done a fantastic job in these playoffs. I know he was whining about the officials early in the Knicks series, but his team took advantage of the Knicks injury situation. And the reality is the Pacers are a better team than we give them credit for. They're better than a 6 seed. They're probably more like a 5 or a 4. And they were just slumping in the middle of the season after the in-season tournament, and Halliburton wasn't healthy, and they had some other key injuries and such. So the Pacers are better than the 6 seed that's next to their name. Storyline of the series: will the Pacers continue their hot 3-point shooting that carried them in this Knicks series and helped them win the Bucks series? They are absolutely capable of hitting 23s in a game. Could that carry over against the team that finished with the best regular season record in the league? My series pick: the Boston Celtics in 6 games. I just think Boston is better. They're going to get Kristaps Porzingis back in the series, and I think he'll have a role in this series. I think it's going to go 6. I think this Pacers team is going to give the Celtics a harder test than people think, because of their ability to shoot the three and their rebounding. TJ McConnell is a really good role player for them. And I think Carlisle, like I said, Carlisle's a good coach. And I think that Indy proved that they can win on the road with today's win at the Garden. Yesterday at the Garden. And so the Pacers will give them a series. I think Boston closes them out in 6. And let's not forget, this is a rematch of the play-in tournament semifinal. And Indiana beat Boston on their home court in that game. And then they ended up losing to the Lakers in Vegas. Is that how that went, the in-season tournament? Because I remember they beat Boston. So the knockout round. They beat them in Indy. They beat Milwaukee in Vegas in the semi. So they beat Boston in the quarterfinals in Indiana. And then Indiana beat Milwaukee in the semis. And then they lost to the Lakers in the championship game. And the Lakers are no longer in the playoffs. So the in-season tournament, I think, has helped the Pacers. Could we not, ignore the in-season tournament with Indiana? And let's not forget that Vegas Arena, I know it's a lot of Laker fans, but the Pacers won a game against the Bucks in there. So, yeah. And then on the other side of the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves, your 3 seed, against the Dallas Mavericks, who were your 5 seed. Best player in the series, Luka Doncic. Anthony Edwards a close second, but I still give the edge to Luka because he's Luka and his ability just to do everything. And he's been in the conference finals before. He was here 2 years ago, although they did lose to Steph Curry and the Warriors. So I would give the edge to best player to Luka. Coaching edge. This is a hard one, considering that Chris Finch is injured and really hasn't coached the team. And it's interesting because Jason Kidd, I think, done one of his better coaching jobs. And I think Chris Finch has done a great job. And I think that the assistant has done a great job filling in. Mike Nori. That's his name. All right, so coaching edge, I have to give it to Jason Kidd if Chris Finch isn't back on the bench yet. If Chris Finch is back, then I give it to Chris Finch. But if Chris Finch is there, it's Chris Finch. If not, it's Jason Kidd. Storyline of the series. All right, to me, it's Minnesota. And whether Anthony Edwards will officially put his name in the ring among one of the very best players in the NBA. People still don't think this guy's a top 5 player, but if he wins the series, I think people are going to start thinking that, and maybe he'll supplant Luka Doncic in the totem pole of NBA players. So, my series pick. I think this is a 7-game classic, and I think the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to win it. I think they're the better team. I think Rudy Gobert will have an impact in the series, unlike sometimes in the Nuggets series, which is crazy considering how last night's Game 7 played out. there are some moments that they're doing good without him on the court, and there are some moments where he was awesome. But I think that this Dallas will be a better matchup for Gobert, considering that he doesn't have to guard a big man who's just the do-it-all, like Joker. Ant's going to have to guard Luka. And I think this is a 7-gamer. I think Minnesota wins. Like I said, it's going to be fun. All right, so the Stanley Cup playoffs. Busy weekend for sure there as well. And we have a Game 7 to preview and predict. Friday, Game 6. Panthers over the Bruins 2-1 as they close out in 6. And Gustav Forsling scores the go-ahead goal with about a minute and a half left in regulation to send the Bruins packing as they'll take on the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final. And the other Game 6, Stars over the Avalanche 2-1 in double overtime on the goal by Matt Duchene as they head on to the Western Conference Final for the second year in a row. And that was a classic game as well. And then Saturday, the Oilers over the Canucks 5-1 to force a Game 7. And Game 7 will be tonight at 9 o'clock on ESPN. Too bad it's not the Sean McDonough group. It's John Buccigross, Leah Hextall, and I forget who the analyst is. It's not Ryan Callahan. It is Ray Ferraro. Oh. So no Sean McDonough. That's weird. So Ray Ferraro is going to be there, but not Sean McDonough. Explain that one. Maybe they want Sean McDonough ready to go for Game 1 of the other series in the East. So it's going to be a good game. I am looking forward to it. Yours truly might have to bet Oilers puck line. Like alternate puck line, because they're going to be favored in the game. I think they're going to be favored like minus 140 because Brock Besser's not playing. Minus 170. Whoa. Vancouver's plus 140. Over under 5.5. Overs minus 132. Unders plus 108. Oilers minus 1.5 is plus 150. Vancouver plus 1.5 is minus 182. I'm going to double down and take Vancouver plus 140. I'm doing it. I think that they're going to be inspired by the home crowd. I know Brock Besser's not playing, but I think JT Miller, with his big game experience back when he was on the Rangers, will help in a big way. I think Pettersson will have a big game. I think that... Oh, and he was also on the Lightning as well, so that will help him. You know that the Oiler guys have been in a lot of big games, but, I mean, JT Miller's been in bigger games. Elias Lindholm's been in some big games in his career as well. And that's just a big number for a team at home. I know Brock Besser's not playing, but I really believe that Vancouver's going to win this. But I'm probably going to have to do Oilers alternate puck line. Oilers plus 1.5, minus 460. And take that with a bunch of other stuff. I think Vancouver wins the game. No Brock Besser. No problem. All right, the Eastern Conference Finals pick. So we have the New York Rangers and the Florida Panthers. It's going to be a great series. You have the President's Trophy winners against the President's Trophy winner of 2 years ago and the team that made the Stanley Cup Final as an 8 seed last year. Best player in the series. There's a lot of nominees for this. You can make a case for Matt Tkachuk. You can make a case for Artemi Panarin. You can make a case for Igor Shesterkin. You can make a case for Sergei Bravovsky. So, for me, the best guy in the series to me, it's so hard to do because there's so many great players on both sides. But we'll go with Artemi Panarin because he's been the best player on the best team this year. Although you could argue, like I said, Kachuk has a really good case. Coaching matchup. This is also a very hard one. Paul Maurice, really good coach. Brought the Panthers to the final last year. Peter Laviolette comes in and leads the Rangers to a President's Trophy. Maurice also won a division crown with the Panthers this year. Only because Laviolette's been in more Stanley Cup finals. I have to pick Laviolette for the coaching advantage. Although, you could argue either or here as well. Goalies. I give my edge to Igor Shesterkin. He's been the best goalie in the playoffs so far. Bravovsky's had some weird flops. Like, he had that weird flop against Boston in Game 1. If I'm not mistaken, he had a bad game against the Lightning, too. I know Shesterkin had some disappointing games. Game 5 against Carolina. Game 4 against Carolina. Game 6 wasn't looking good for a while, and his team turned it around, and he was making big saves. So, you could make a case for Bravovsky, but I'm going to go Shesterkin. Story of the series. Could the Rangers do it again as an underdog? The rare President's Trophy winner that is an underdog in both the second and third rounds of the playoffs. You don't see that a lot. I mean, I think it's disrespectful to the Rangers personally, and I think that Vegas is living in the past with the Panthers making the final last year, and they favored Carolina over the Rangers because they thought Jake Gensel was this franchise-changing player. Like, he ain't, he's not Matt Tkachuk. I mean, that's a good example because Florida trades for Tkachuk and then they're in the final. And Matt Tkachuk's a better player than Jake Gensel. I think they overrated Gensel big time. And that's why Carolina was favored. And I think they underestimated the goaltending advantage the Rangers had in that series. So my pick, listen, I have a lot of future action in the Florida Panthers. I have them against the Stars and a future bet for the Stanley Cup Final. I also have a lot at stake with Vancouver. That's why I need them to win Game 7 pretty badly. And Florida-Dallas was my pick before the playoffs to be the Stanley Cup Final. That was my preseason pick to be the Stanley Cup Final, if I'm not mistaken. But I changed my mind the way the Rangers came back and rallied in Game 6. There's just something special going on with the Rangers. And I think that they have a real shot. And oh, by the way, guys, I had Dallas over the Maple Leafs in the final before the season. Yikes. I thought I had Dallas Panthers, but it was Dallas Leafs. Oops. I knew I had Dallas winning the Cup before the year. But yeah, because of how the Rangers came back in Game 6, like I said, I think there's something special going on with them. I'm taking the Rangers in 7 for the series. And they're going to prove yet again why they should be favored in yet another series that they have home ice advantage in. And the funny thing is that Carolina was a bigger favorite against the Rangers than the Panthers are. to note. And I think I bet it at plus 440. And by the way, the other picks I gave out, Boston in 6 and Minnesota in 7. So Minnesota 4-3 is 4-1. Favorite outcome is Minnesota in 5 at plus 360, which is stupid. And then the Eastern final, the favorite outcome is Boston in 5 at plus 170. And then the sweep at plus 260. I like the 4-2 at plus 440. And then Rangers in 7 was that price must have moved. It's plus 450. I think I got it at plus 440. Favorite outcomes, Florida in 6 at plus 380. Yeah, so the Rangers are plus 118. They're plus 126 against Carolina. Okay, we have to move on. Baseball, we'll go. Go over the weekend's results and look ahead to tonight. Friday, Pirates over the Cubs 9-3. Phils over the Nats 4-2. O's over the Mariners 9-2. Yanks over the White Sox 4-2. Rays over the Jays 4-3. Guardians over the Twins 3-2. Marlins over the Mets 8-0. Padres over the Braves 3-1. Royals over the A's 6-2. Angels over the Rangers 9-3. Astros over the Brewers 4-2. Cards over the Red Sox 10-6. Tigers over the D-backs 13-0. Dodgers over the Reds 7-3. Giants over the Rockies 10-5. Saturday, Yanks over the White Sox 6-1. Cubs over the Pirates 1-0. Rays over the Jays 5-4. Giants over the Rockies 14-4. Mariners over the O's 4-3. Marlins over the Mets 10-9 and 10 on a walk-off single by Otto Lopez. Phillies over the Nationals 4-3 and 10 on a walk-off sac fly by Bryce Harper. Guardians over the Twins 11-4. Brewers over the Astros 4-2. Royals over the A's 5-3. Rangers over the Angels 3-2 and 13 on a walk-off hit by pitch. Nate Lau was hit by a pitch. Cards over the Red Sox 7-2. Padres Rays postponed, and they're having the game as a doubleheader today. Tigers over the D-backs 8-3. Dodgers over the Reds 4-0. And then yesterday, Red Sox over the Cards 11-3. O's over the Mariners 6-3. Yanks over the White Sox 7-2. Phils over the Nats 11-5. Jays over the Rays 5-2. Guardians over the Twins 5-2. Mets over the Marlins 7-3. Astros over the Brewers 9-4. Royals over the A's 8-4. Pirates over the Cubs 3-2. Angels over the Rangers 4-1. Giants over the Rockies 4-1. Dodgers over the Reds 3-2 and 10 on a walk-off single by Shohei Ohtani. D-backs over the Tigers 6-4. Padres over the Braves 9-1. Okay, I'm not a fan of how ESPN has it set up now. It's the ESPN bet lines. So, 12:20, doubleheader game 1, Padres, Braves, Dylan Cease, Reynaldo Lopez. Braves minus 120, Padres plus 102 over under 8.5, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Padres minus 1.5 is plus 160, Braves plus 1.5 is minus 194. Padres favored on the run line, Braves favored on the money line. I'm taking the Padres straight up at plus 102. 3 o'clock on ESPN Plus, White Sox Jays. Toronto minus 190, White Sox plus 160 over under 8, overs minus 108, unders or minus 105, unders minus 115. White Sox plus 1.5 is minus 138. Jays minus 1.5 is plus 115. Tough one. It's Eric Feed and Jose Barrios, by the way. Oof, that's a hard one, but I like the under. 6 o'clock, Mets Guardians. Tyler McGill, Ben Lively. Guardians minus 126, Mets plus 108, over under 8.5, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Mets plus 1.5 is minus 196. Guardians minus 1.5 is plus 162. Under. Don't feel good about it, though. Doubleheader game 2. 6:20. Padres, Braves. Randy Vasquez, Chris Sale. Braves minus 215. Padres plus 180 over under 8.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Padres +1.5 is -115. Braves -1.5 is -104. Don't feel good about it, but I'm going to go with the under in the second game. 6:30 Brewers Marlins. Joe Ross and Ryan Weathers. Brewers -136. Marlins +116. Over under 8.5. Overs -105. Unders -115. Brewers -1.5 is +116. Marlins +1.5 is -140. Under. 6:45 Twins Nats. I almost said Red Sox. Pablo Lopez and Mitchell Parker. Twins -184. Nats +154. Over under 8.5. Overs even money. Unders -122. Twins -1.5 is -102. Nats +1.5 is -118. I'm going to take the Nationals straight up +154. Just to take a shot at a dog. That isn't terrible. 6:50 Red Sox Rays. Tanner Houck and Taj Bradley. Rays -110. Sox -106. Over under 7.5. -110 each way. Sox -1.5 is +146. Rays +1.5 is -178. Rays favored on the money line. Red Sox favored on the run line. I'm going the under, though, for the game. 7 o'clock, Mariners Yankees. Logan Gilbert and Marcus Stroman. Yanks -132. Mariners +112. Over under 7.5. Overs -122. Unders even money. M's +1.5 is -122. Yankees -1.5 is +158. Under even money. 7:30 on Fox Sports 1. Tigers Royals. AL Central. Reese Olson, Michael Wacha. Royals -118. Tigers even money. Over under 9. Overs even money. Unders -122. Tigers -1.5 is +150. Rays +1.5 is -182. Tigers favored on the run line. Royals favored on the money line. I'm taking the Tigers on the money line at even money. 7:45 O's Cards. Dean Kremer, Sonny Gray. Cards -118. O's even money. Over under 8. Overs -102. Unders -120. O's -1.5 is +150. Cards +1.5 is -192. I'm taking the Cards on the money line -118. Don't feel strong about it, though. 8 o'clock, Angels Stros. Reed Detmers, Framber Valdez. Astros -205. Angels +172. Over under 8.5. Overs -105. Unders -115. Angels +1.5 is -126. Astros -1.5 +105. Astros run line. And last but not least, 10 o'clock, D-backs Dodgers. Joe Mantiply getting the start against Yoshi Yamamoto. Dodgers -225. D-backs +188. Over under 8.5. Overs -118. Unders -104. D-backs +1.5 is -114. Dodgers -1.5 is -105. I'm going to go with the over. Or maybe Slade Certoni starting in Mantiply's being the opener, technically. All right, to the WNBA. We'll go over the results from the weekend. And I'm not sure if they're playing tonight. Let's see. Yeah, they are. Friday, Sun over the Mystics 84-77. Lynx over the Storm 102-93 in double overtime. Saturday, Liberty over the Fever 91-80. Aces over the Sparks 89-82. Sky over the Wings 83-74. Mercury over the Dream 88-85. And then yesterday, Storm over the Mystics 84-75. All right, today, 2 games, 7 o'clock on ESPN, Sun Fever. Connecticut is giving 4.5, totals 163.5. I'm going to go with the over. I think that's a high-scoring game. And then also at 7 o'clock, you have the Storm against the Liberty. The Liberty are giving a whopping 11, total 170.5. I'm taking the Storm getting 11. I think the Liberty are overvalued at home. I know they're a good team, but the Storm, I don't think are bad. I think they did a good job rebuilding their team, Seattle. So I'm going to take the Storm plus 11. But I'll probably throw the Liberty money line in with the Oilers alternate puck line. I'll do that. I'll give out the Storm as like a cover pick, but the Liberty will win. I'll give them on a money line to go with the my Edmonton hedge. All right, there's a lot of soccer that we have to talk about from the weekend. A lot of leagues ended. we will begin with the Premier League. Yesterday, Arsenal over Everton 2-1, Newcastle over Brentford 4-2, Man United over Brighton 2-0, Nottingham Forest over Burnley 2-1, Chelsea over Bournemouth 2-1, Crystal Palace over Aston Villa 5-0, Liverpool over Wolves 2-0, Fulham over Luton 4-2, Man City over West Ham 3-1, Tottenham over Sheffield United 3-0. All right, so going to the Champions League. Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, and Aston Villa. Europa League, Tottenham. And they'll play Newcastle in a friendly on Wednesday, it looks like. Going to the Conference League will be Chelsea. They have a couple of friendlies coming up in July. Celtic, they get to play, so that's pretty cool. And then getting relegated to the ELC, Luton, Burnley, and Sheffield United. La Liga. Their season's not done. They have next weekend to go as well. Saturday, Alaves over Getafe 1-0. And then yesterday, Atletico over Sevilla 2-0. Osasuna over Atletico 4-1. Barcelona over Rayo 3-0. Cádiz Las Palmas 0-0 draw. Celta Vigo over Granada 2-1. Mallorca Almeria 2-2 draw. Real Sociedad over Betis 2-0. Girona over Valencia 3-1. And Villarreal Real Madrid 4-4 draw. Serie A, their season's not over yet either. Friday, Fiorentina Napoli 2-2 draw. Saturday, Atalanta over Lecce 2-0. Torino over Milan 3-1. And then yesterday, Cagliari over Sassuolo 2-0. Frosinone over Monza 1-0. Udinese Empoli 1-1 draw. Inter Milan Lazio 1-1 draw. And AS Roma over Genoa 1-0. All right, 2 games. 12:30, Salernitana Verona. So a team that's going to be relegated against a team that could be relegated if they lose this game. Verona's favorite, minus 170. Salernitana plus 480, draw plus 270. It's a must for Verona to be dodged of relegation. But I'm over 2.5 goals at even money for the pick. Then 245, Bologna and Juventus. Juventus is likely headed to the Champions League. And Bologna is likely headed there too. Bologna plus 165, Juventus plus 185. The draw is 2-1. I like the draw at 2-1. Dutch Eredivisie. NEC over Murray City 4-1. AZ Alkmaar FC Utrecht 3-3 draw. Go Ahead Eagles over FC Volendam 2-1. Feyenoord over Excelsior 4-0. Heracles Fortuna 0-0 draw. FC 20 over PEC Zwolle 2-1. PSV over RKC Waldrick 3-1. Sparta over Heerenveen 2-1. Vitesse Ajax 2-2 draw. So Thursday they have some games. So they have the European playoffs, the 6-9 NEC Go Ahead Eagles and FC Utrecht and Sparta coming up on Thursday, so we'll have to preview and pick that. Meanwhile, PSV and Feyenoord are going to the Champions League, and FC 20 gets to qualify. Europa League qualifying will be AZ Alkmaar and Ajax. And then being relegated will be Vitesse and FC Volendam. Excelsior is going to be in the relegation playoffs. And they'll be going up against ADO Den Haag of The Dutch can be in Devizes. And being promoted to Dutch Eredivisie will be Willem II and FC Groningen. French League 1. Everyone played yesterday. Monaco over Nantes 4-0. Marseille Le Havre C 2-1. Lens Montpellier 2-2 draw. Lille Nice 2-2 draw. Lorient over Clermont 5-0. Lyon over Strasbourg 2-1. PSG over Metz 2-0. Reims over Rennes 2-1. Brest over Toulouse 3-0. All right. So, Champions League, PSG, Monaco, and Brest. And qualifying will be Lille. Europa League will be Nice. Conference League qualifying Lyon. And they're going to be playing PSG on Saturday in the Coupe de France final. So that's a big one for them. Relegated will be Clermont Foot and Lorient. Metz will be in the relegation playoff. We don't know who they'll be playing yet in that. Liga MX. Saturday, America over Guadalajara 1-0 as America advances 1-0 in aggregate. And then Thursday night, Cruz Azul over Monterrey 1-0. And then the second leg, Monterrey wins 2-1, but aggregate was 2-2. But Cruz Azul advances because they were the higher seed. Makes sense of that. They should have gone the kicks. And Cruz Azul and America will play Thursday. Alrighty. Women's League. Friday, North Carolina over Utah 1-0. BFC over San Diego 2-1. Portland over Houston 2-0. Saturday, Washington over LA 4-2. And Louisville KC 3-3 draw. And then yesterday, Gotham over Chicago 2-1. And Orlando over Seattle 3-2. MLS Saturday, Nashville Atlanta 1-1 draw. Charlotte Galaxy 0-0 draw. Cincy over St. Louis 3-1. Philly 3-0 over New England. NYCFC over Red Bulls 2-1. Toronto over Montreal 5-1. DC United loses to Miami 1-0. Austin over KC 3-2. Columbus over Chicago 3-1. Houston Dallas 1-1 draw. Minnesota over Portland 2-1. Salt Lake over Colorado 5-3. Orlando over San Jose 1-0. Seattle Vancouver 1-1 draw. USL. Friday, Colorado over Rhode Island 3-1. And Memphis over El Paso 2-1. Saturday, Indy over Hartford 4-1. Loudoun over Monterey Bay 3-0. Pittsburgh, North Carolina 1-1 draw. Tampa over Tulsa 5-0. Oakland over Orange County 2-1. Vegas, Louisville 2-2 draw. Phoenix over Miami 2-0. English League Championship. Friday, Southampton over West Brom 3-1 as Southampton advances 3-1 on aggregate in the promotional playoffs. Scottish Premiership. Saturday, Celtic over St. Mirren 3-1. Dundee Kilmarnock 1-1 draw. Hearts Rangers 3-3 draw. And then yesterday, Livingston Hibernian 1-1 draw. St. Johnstone over Motherwell 2-1. And Ross County Aberdeen 2-2 draw. All right, where things stand right now, Celtics going back to the Champions League. Rangers is going to qualify. Europa League qualifying, Hearts and Kilmarnock. Conference League qualifying will be St. Mirren. Livingston's going to be relegated, and going in the relegation playoffs will be Ross County, as they'll take on Wraith from the Scottish Championship. And then Dundee is promoted to the Premiership. And last but not least in soccer, the Saudi Pro League. Friday, Damak Al-Faya 1-1 draw. Etifak over Etifak Okdod 1-1 draw. Nasser Halal 1-1 draw. So all 1-1 draws. That's crazy. And then Saturday, Hazem Raida 1-1 draw to Woon over Shabab 1-0 and Ali over Abba 5-1. All right, that was a lot of soccer. Now we'll move on to golf. We had the PGA Championship over the weekend, and your winner with the score of 21 under, Xander Schauffele. Coming in second with a score of 20 under, my pick of Bryson DeChambeau. Third, 18 under, Victor Hovland. Tied for fourth with 15 under, Colin Morikawa, Thomas Dietrich. Tied for sixth, 14 under, Justin Rose, Shane Lowry. Tied for eighth, 13 under, Justin Thomas, Robert McIntyre, Brett Horschel, and Scotty Scheffler. Tied for 12th with 12 under, Rory McIlroy, Lucas Hodges, Heath Iglia, Taylor Moore, Alex Noren, Dean Brewmeister. Tied for 18th with 11 under, Ryu Hesatune, Tony Finau, Keegan Bradley, Harry English, Austin Eckroyd. Tied for 23rd with 10 under, Ryan Henley, Taylor Hogue, Matt McNeely. Tied for 26th with 9 under, Ben Coles, Corey Connors, Brooks Koepka, Kurt Katayama, Tommy Fleetwood, Minwoo Lee, Tom Kim, Brian Harmon, Mark Hubbard. Tied for 35th with 8 under, Doug Gim, Hideki Matsuyama, Max Homa, Bryce Garnett. Tied for 39th with 7 under, Alexander Shork, Aaron Ray, Joaquin Neiman, Jordan Smith. Tied for 43rd with 6 under, Grayson Murray, Lucas Herbert, Matt Walls, Lucas Glover, Adam Svensson. Tied for 43rd with 6 under, Will Zalatoris, Jason Day, Jordan Spieth, Dylan Johnson, Bion Gonan, Adam Svensson, Lucas Glover, Matt Wallace, Grayson Murray. Tied for 53rd with 5 under, Evan Van Rooyen, Adam Putnam, Zach Blair, Patrick Cantlay, Patrick Reed, Thorbjorn Olsen, Jesper Svensson. Tied for 60th, 4 under, Adam Hadwin, Taylor Gooch, Gary Woodland. Tied for 63rd with 3 under, Cam Smith, Cam Young, Tyrell Hatton, Ricky Fowler, Sungwoo Kim. Tied for 68th with 2 under, Nicholas Hojard, Rasmus Hojard, Lucas Donald, and Sebastian Soderberg. 72nd, 1 under, Brandon Shattuck. Tied for 73rd at even, Alejandro Tosti and Martin Kamer. Notables: 75th, 2 over, Ryan Fox. 76th, 5 over, Stefan Yeager. 78th, 9 over, Brendan Todd. Among those cut, Levi Goldberg, Peter Malnati, Eric Cole, Sammy Valimaki, Matt Fitzpatrick, John Rahm, Christian Seenenhow, Keith Mitchell, C.T. Pond, Taylor Pendrith, Adam Shank, Ashkay Pahita, Nate Taylor, Charlie Hoffman, Jason Duffner, Seb Straka, Jake Knapp, Mackenzie Hughes, Miliano Grillo, Bio Hostler, Victor Norman, Adam Scott, Sanjay M, Sam Burns, Chris Goddard, Patrick Rogers, Dylan McCarthy, Phil Mickelson, Luke List, Wyndham Clark, Francesco Molinari, Alex Molly, Nick Dunlap, Siwoo Kim, JT Potson, Chris Kirk, Jimmy Walker, Tiger, Cam Davis, Victor Perez, Matt Pavon, and withdrawing Kyung-Gu Lee, Ben Griffin, and John Daly. Okay, now we'll move on to NASCAR. an interesting weekend, to say the least, in the sport. We'll start with the trucks. Your winner of the race from Saturday was Corey Heim. Coming second was Grant Effinger. Third, Lane Riggs. Fourth, Brendan Queen. Fifth, Sammy Smith. Sixth, Christian X. Seventh, Nick Sanchez. Eighth, Tanner Ankrum. Ninth, Daniel Dye. 10th, Stuart Friesen and the rest. Ty Majeski, Jack Wood, Taylor Gray, Raja Caruth, Ross Chastain, Tanner Gray, Stephon Parsons, Matt Mills, Bailey Curry, Matt Crafton, Jake Garcia, Ben Rhodes, Mason Massey, Chase Purdy, Ty Dillon, Timmy Hill, Dean Thompson, Dawson Sutton, Brett Holmes, Lawless Allen, Thad Moffitt, Spencer Boyd, Josh Rume, Clayton Green, Connor Jones, and Trey Hutchins. And the Cup Series. The All-Star Open winning it was Ty Gibbs. Second, Bubba Wallace. Third, Josh Berry. Fourth, Justin Haley. Fifth, Noah Gragson. Sixth, Alex Bowman. Seventh, Chase Briscoe. Eighth, Ryan Preece. Ninth, Austin Dillon. 10th, Carson Hocevar. The rest, Kaz Gralla, Corey LaJoie, Harrison Burton, John Hunter Nemechek, Todd Gilliland, Daniel Hemrick, Zane Smith, Eric Jones, Timmy Hill, and Austin Cindric. I think I had Austin Cindric winning the race. Whoops. All-Star race. Their winner, Joey Logano. Second, Denny Hamlin. Third, Chris Buescher. Fourth, Kyle Larson. Fifth, Ryan Blaney. Sixth, Bubba Wallace. Seventh, Ross Chastain. Eighth, Chase Elliott. Ninth, Michael McDowell. 10th, Kyle Busch. The rest, Noah Gragson, Martin Truex Jr., Ty Gibbs, Tyler Reddick, Daniel Suarez, Brad Keselowski, Chris Bell, AJ Allmendinger, William Byron, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kevin Harvick. All right, next weekend's Charlotte. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we have some NASCAR stuff to talk about in news and notes. F1. So this weekend, F1 had its race in Italy. Max Verstappen, of course, won. 25 points. A 1:25.25.252 time. Finishing less than a second back with 18 points, Lando Norris. Coming in third with 15 points, about 8 seconds back, was Charles Leclerc. Fourth was 14 seconds back, 12 points, Oscar Piastri. Fifth with 10 points, about 22 seconds back, Carlos Sainz Jr. Sixth, 8 points and 35 seconds back, Lewis Hamilton. Seventh with 7 points, 47 seconds back, George Russell. Eighth, about 54.5 seconds. 4 points, Sergio Perez. Ninth, with 2 points, 79.5 seconds back, Lance Stroll. 10th, with 1 point, back a lap, Yuki Tsunoda. The rest, Nico Hulkenberg, and all at 0 points, by the way. Kevin Magnussen, Daniel Ricciardo, Esteban Ocon, Yano Zhu, Pierre Gasly, Logan Sargent, Valtteri Bottas, Fernando Alonso, and not finishing was Alex Albon. Next F1 race, the Monaco Grand Prix. In Monaco, so that is going to be an interesting race next weekend. All right, the season finale of American Idol. It was fantastic. It was one of my favorite finales in a while. It was an emotional finale because it was Katie's last show. So John Bon Jovi was the mentor. The final three of Will, Jack, and Abby performed Living on a Prayer to open the show. And then John Bon Jovi performed his song Legendary. And then the contestants had the Bon Jovi round. Will performed It's My Life. Jack performed I'll Be There For You. And Abby performed Bed of Roses. Then they did the hometown round, where they go back to their hometowns and sing and they perform for their hometowns and they perform a song on the Idol stage. Will performed My Town by Montgomery Gentry. Jack performed All My Exes Live in Texas by George Strait. And Abby performed Somewhere from West Side Story. Then it was some finalists with some famous people. First up was Julia Gagnon and Jason Mraz as they performed I Feel Like Dancing, which is Jason's song. Then Seal performed his song Crazy with Jana Elise. Then the top two were revealed, Will and Abby. As Jack is the second runner-up. And he performed his single afterward. Then McKenna, Faith Breinholt, and Cabrin performed the Jay Spade to his song Let It Go. Then Luke performed Love You, Miss You, Mean It. And then Luke with Mia Matthews performed Run by George Strait. Then Lionel performed his hit Running with the Night. Tristan Harper joined Cody Johnson in performing Johnson's hit Till You Can't. Then Bishop Briggs performed her song Triumph, and Bishop and Abby performed Bishop's song River. So the 5 men that were in the top 12 performed with 2015 Idol winner Nick Frediani. As they did a Neil Diamond tribute, they performed America and Sweet Caroline. So the 5 guys, obviously Will and Jack, Keiko, Roman, and Tristan. And then one of my favorite performances of the night, Will performed with none other than Hootie and the Blowfish as they performed a medley of Hootie hits, Hold My Hand, Let Her Cry, and Only Wanna Be With You. And then Jack Blocker performed the Katy Perry to Katie's hit, What Makes You a Woman. Then New Kids on the Block came out and performed their song Kids. And Keiko joined them in performing You Got the Right Stuff, and that was awesome. A touching tribute by Emmy Russell and Wyana as they perform Emmy's grandmother Loretta Lynn's song Coal Miner's Daughter, and then Wyona's song No One Else on Earth. Then it was Roman Collins and CeCe Winans performing Winans' song Goodness of God, which was awesome. Then the 7 ladies of the top 12, Abby, Cabrin, McKenna, Emmy, Mia, Jana, and I'm missing one. Abby, Emmy, McKenna, Cabrin, Julia, Mia, and Jana. They performed a medley of Katy Perry hits in honor of it being her last show, Teenage Dream, Dark Horse, and California Girls. Then the final 2 performed their singles, Will, Good Book Bad, Abby's This Isn't Over. Then after commercial, they announced the winner. And it was a close vote. And your winner was Miss Abby Carter. She was the best singer of this season from start to finish. I thought she was the front runner the whole season. I thought there were some people making runs. I thought Tristan made a run for her money. Obviously Will, obviously Jack, McKenna. Those, I think, were the biggest challengers to Abby. But Abby was the best from start to finish. And to close out the show, she performed the song that she used in her audition, What I Was Made For, by Billie Eilish, and then her family and the rest of the top 12 come running on the stage, congratulating her. And then, of course, Lionel and Luke are hugging Katie because it's her last show, and of course Katie was crying. So it was a good season. Obviously the big story of the off season is who's going to replace Katie. It'd be fun if they brought back an old name like J-Lo or even Paula, for that matter. That'd be fun. Cara DiGregorio, or whatever her name was, she wasn't a bad judge. Ellen was only on there for a year. She won't go back. Ready to go with somebody completely new. Like, they should go with somebody who's not really doing any music stuff right now. That could step in and be a good judge. And I think it has to be a female, because it'd be just weird having 3 male judges and Ryan. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see who replaces Katie, and hopefully Katie puts out some new music, and that's what I think she's gonna do. All right, now on to the news and notes. Sorry, this is a long show. I did a lot of playoffs at the beginning of the show. So rapid fire news and notes. Nikola Jokic congratulates the T-Wolves and calls them the better team. Ann Edwards says that he had Jamal in hand after holding Murray to 11 second-half points. Tyrese Halliburton had a Reggie Miller hoodie on as he paid homage to Reggie after eliminating the Knicks. So there's talks about Bronny James going in round 1 of the draft. Yikes, I don't think that's going to happen. But LeBron will not leave the Lakers for Bronny. And KG compares Bronny to Kobe. Oh my God. That's ridiculous. And I love Kobe. But, that's ridiculous. And Kobe's a freaking legend. I mean, if anybody should be compared to Kobe right now, arguably it should be Anthony Edwards. But to me, Anthony Edwards is more like Dwayne Wade than Kobe. And Dwayne Wade's a great comp. And Indiana makes history, 67.1 field goal percentage against the Knicks in the elimination game at the Garden. And the Lakers actually interviewed Bronny. And then Reggie Miller had an Instagram post after the whole shenanigans of Game 2 with Josh Hart saying, they're telling you fuck you, and the crowd with the fuck you Reggie chants. Then Jalen Brunson says that the Knicks season is not a success. Like I said, I kind of don't blame him for saying that. Like, if he said it was a success, he was going to get killed like how Giannis got killed last year. That's what he's supposed to say. I mean, him saying the season wasn't a failure wouldn't be as bad as Giannis did last year, because it's Giannis, but Brunson would have gotten criticized if he said the season was a success. Let's be honest. And then Josh Hart teared up after the standing ovation in Game 7 after he fouled out. Paul Pierce is an idiot. There's a reason that guy's not in the media anymore. He stomps on a Jalen Brunson jersey as he calls out Knicks fans after the loss. And OG Anunoby actually came back for the game yesterday, but only played in 5 minutes. He hit his first 2 shots, and then he was just moving slow, so they pulled him from the game. They're like, yeah, good try. And then Josh Hart played through the abdominal strain after he left the game in Game 6. And everybody was freaking out after the Nuggets collapsed. Tiger Woods almost made a hole-in-one in the PGA Championship, which was pretty cool. And then the Pacers, I don't blame them for trolling the national media after everyone picked the Knicks to win. I mean, nobody believed in Indiana. I even said on the podcast before the Knicks injury situation got worse that the Knicks were overvalued in the series. There was a lightning strike that hit Jake Paul after leaving press conference for the Mike Tyson fight. There was a fight in the NASCAR after the NASCAR race last night. Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. threw punches at each other and they had to be separated. Georgia wide receiver Sakovi White arrested with reckless driving. And that's the 17th traffic-related incident in the program. Yikes. The trailer of EA College Football 25 has been revealed. Auburn running back Brian Batty was hospitalized as he was injured in a shooting on Saturday morning. And unfortunately, his brother was pronounced dead at the scene. We talked about Jalen Brunson leaving Game 7 for the fractured hand. Sees the Gray won the Preakness in a wire-to-wire finish. That was impressive. He was a 9-1 dog. Alexander Usyk defeats Tyson Fury as he hands Fury his first loss to become undisputed. David Fletcher allegedly used same bookmaker as Otani's interpreter while he was on the team. Yikes. Scotty Scheffler said it was a big misunderstanding leading to the arrest on Friday morning. And he told the media that his head was spinning after finishing the PGA round. That's going to be the biggest story that comes out of that. Giants outfielder Jung-Hoo Lee out for the year with a torn labrum. Not great for San Francisco. Shota Ibanaga's ERA is at 0.84. Wow. Paul Skenn's final line, 6 innings, no hits, 11 strikeouts, and 1 walk against the Cubs the other day. That's crazy. And there's a controversial Cubs walk-off as Pirates fans thought Cody Bellinger was out at home plate. We talked about Brock Besser not playing tonight. Non-life-threatening blood clotting issue. And status for the rest of the playoffs is uncertain. So that's scary. Hopefully he gets well soon. So Big East Commissioner Val Ackerman in strong opposition to NCAA's plan to distribute damages to former student athletes. Clint Capella to be in trade talks once again. A lot of people are hiring Jared Allen. As the Cavs are exploring a trade with that. And the Cavs are also hopeful that Donovan Mitchell signs an extension. How about this? Anthony Davis was not on board with Ham as he played a role in the Lakers firing Darvin Ham. Oof. And the Lakers actually like Donovan Mitchell over Trae Young to build a new big three. Gordon Hayward admitted to frustration with his role on the Thunder. David Johnson's retiring. I remember he had that one good year on the Cardinals. The Mets offered Pete Alonso 7 years, $158 million. And they demote Edwin Diaz as they're doing closer by committee until Diaz regains his confidence. Yikes. Talk about an overpaid reliever. Tua skipped off-season workouts, and he rejected at least one contract offer as the offer apparently hasn't been good enough for him. Fanatics is suing Marvin Harrison for facing breach of contract lawsuit. Interesting. Not great. Trevor Lawrence may get over $50 million as they remain all in on getting long-term deal done with Lawrence. Brandon Ayuk and Niners made little progress on extension. And the NFL may change ownership rules, this committee of owners considered to wider pool of candidates to purchase stake in teams. The Leafs hire Craig Berube as their new head coach. Good hire by the Leafs. Getting a veteran coach in there. The Hurricanes extend Ron Brindamore as he gets a new deal after it's rumored that he was going to Seattle. Aaron Boone says that Aaron Judge's play is as good as he's ever seen. Aja Wilson posts on Ace's Probe as she reacts to league's investigation into players receiving $100,000 sponsorship. As the league is launching an investigation into the city of Vegas, giving each player $100,000. Fever Liberty sold $2 million in tickets as the largest ticket revenue of any WNBA game since the league's inception in 1997. Wow. Sue Berg praises Caitlin Clark, says everybody wants to see how she's going to do. And the Aces had a record 15 sellouts in a season. KP out to start the Eastern Finals. He may return at some point. KJ Lewis is returning to Arizona as he declared for the draft last month. That's big for Arizona. And that is it for news and notes. Last but not least, my best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. This is a hard one. I have a lot of things in consideration. And I'm going to lay a 20th of a unit on the pick. And I decided to go This is hard. A really hard call for best bet. I'm going to lay the run line with the Astros against the Angels. I think the Angels are a team that's teetering right now, and they're playing terribly. I'm laying the run line with the Astros against the Angels for my best bet of the day. So there you have it for the show, and I'll be back tomorrow recapping everything, looking ahead to everything. Tomorrow we'll have a portfolio pick, and we'll do a lot more. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone.